Just put
Chad's Lounge. Tonight's episode is going to be on horror stuff. On X, formerly Twitter, there's a group that asked a question about what people's favorite remake was for horror. And what makes and breaks a good horror movie. But I think for me, what makes and breaks a good horror movie, it's got to have a good story. It's got to have good kills.
Yep.
Can't be predictable.
Nope.
Has to be somewhat scary, but not overly scary.
Yep.
And the characters have to be likable. If the characters aren't likable, then you're going to have no interest in the movie if the characters aren't likable.
And not super grotesque for me.
I don't mind that portion of it.
You know what I mean?
But, like, some of the best remakes, like, for me, it's the Evil Dead 2013 remake. That one was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job with that one. I liked the casting of Mia. I thought she was a great character. I like that Bruce Campbell was part of it as, like, a producer.
Yep.
Sam Raimi was on it, which was really cool. I also like the Texas Chainsaw 2013 one, or is it 2003? Hold on, let me double check. Ow. 2003.
He's dead. He kicked the can.
So the 2003 Texas Chainsaw, I really liked that one. That one was really well done.
Any others to your mind?
Those two are the two biggest ones. The Fog remake is horrible. Don't watch the Fog remake. It's terrible.
The three remakes you...
And the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is garbage.
That's what I was going to just about
The
to
original
say.
one's the best. The remake one is not for me anyways.
And there's another remake he does not like at all. And what's that? What did MGM do that you really hate?
What's that?
What's the TV show you want to see season 4 of? And what did MGM do?
Oh yeah, their terrible remake of Chucky. That was bad too. And I love Mark Hamill, but Mark Hamill was better, I found, in the Star Wars franchise than he was as Chucky.
But the song.
The song, everything about that movie was terrible.
So next...
But the original Fog is fantastic. If you guys haven't seen the original Fog is fantastic. I believe it's Jamie Lee Curtis's second film. Her first film was obviously Halloween.
They're the best. According to us, some of the best.
Yeah, some of our favorites are Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one, of course, Alien, Halloween, The Fog, Texas Chainsaw, 1974. The Birds was okay. Not for me, but it's
I was a
alright.
big fan of the Birds.
Friday the 13th, Psycho, it was okay. Not so much for me.
Well, you know what I mean.
Child's Play, of course. It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. But you also got to throw in Tim Curry's version of it because it was kind of like the standard of like what Pennywise was before we've seen kind of what Skarsgård was able to do with the character. Which I thought he did very well with the character in his own right. He made it his own.
I'm going to spin this to myself quickly. So, talking to you, do you consider Terminator, Gremlins, Ghostbusters, and Jurassic Park horror? Because in critics, some of my favorites, consider these 4 horror movies.
There's horror elements in Gremlins. There's definitely horror elements in Terminator. Obviously, with the robots taking over the world, it's kind of like a horror element of its own. Jurassic Park, I guess, if you're young, the dinosaurs at the time are kind of scary. Especially the scenes with the Tyrannosaurus Rex and stuff in the original ones. Yeah, I can see that.
And do you want it's a superhero? If you want to touch on it,
You can touch on the superhero. You're the superhero guy.
Oh, I'm superhero guy. This is what I'm called now. Superhero guy. There were some horror superhero takes. The Crow is considered one. I forgot, but Brendan Lee's Wes Craven's Swamp Thing, a great movie you haven't seen. I'll show you one time. I'm gonna go down. Sorry for my voice. Even Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider is considered horror due to him being skeleton, or sorry, skull. I like superhero horror. I think we need it because not all superheroes need to have capes and capes and for cowls. I'll call them. We can have the horror aspect come into superhero, like Werewolf by Night, MCU, great. I'm gonna touch on Scooby Doo. When I was a kid, that was my first actual take to horror was Scooby Doo. He introduced me to horror. He introduced me to the ghosts and ghouls and all that. And from him, from my best friend here, I got into horror, and now we watch all the scary ones, including the terrifying ones.
For me, it was probably, I would say, Tales from the Crypt was the original. And I even told this when I met John Kassir at Frightmare in 2022, that, yeah, he was basically my introduction to horror, and he was, like, super thrilled to hear that. Because he said, like, a lot of fans like myself, like, he was their gateway into the horror realm. And they even made, I think, a documentary, I believe, on that, too, that Tales from the Crypt being the gateway to horror for a lot of fans. And they had a lot of big names come out of that TV show.
Yep, Daniel Craig was one of them, wasn't he?
Daniel Craig was in there. There's a few other big
yeah,
names.
we
I
can't
can't remember
think of
them,
them.
but Corey Feldman was in the movie.
Oh,
He was in one of the movies that they had with it.
yes, I forgot about that. You're right.
It was either Bordello of Blood or it was the other one that was the
Oh.
Demon Knight. I think he was in Demon Knight, I believe.
You know more than I would. So, what's your take on the F-13 prequel series Crystal Lake? You can take that.
It could be good. The disappointing thing for that is that Brian Fuller is no longer part of it. He's kind of stepped away from it, which kind of sucks because Brian Fuller was a great director and he did a lot of good stuff in the horror realm. Like with the Hannibal TV series, I think Brian Fuller would have been definitely the guy to take it over to bring it to like that next tier that fans have been waiting for the F-13 saga. But part of the problem that we run into here too with F-13 is that the lawsuit is still kind of, the rights are still all over the place. They can use Crystal Lake, they can use Pamela, they can use the little kid Jason, but all the other Jasons after that, which is, I think, kind of where they ran into trouble, but it didn't say. Because every other iteration of Jason past the first film is still under Horror Inc. Horror Inc. has the rights, I believe, to all the other Jason stuff outside of the first film. So anything first film, I think, can be used, but everything past that, which they're going to introduce us to different Jasons, unless it was like a custom Jason, I think maybe they could have done that. But anything that you see like behind me, like any of those Jasons, they wouldn't have been able to use any of the other ones outside of the Ari Lehman version of Jason.
No. So what's your personal take? Like, what do you personally, do you want to see this? Do you want to just go back to the films and have it all together? Or are you going to give this a try if it does come?
We might give it a try, but I think based on Brian Fuller leaving, there's also a chance possibly that Adrienne King could walk from the franchise too, which would really suck because she's basically the only original in it that ties it together to any of the original movies is Adrienne King. And her portrayal as Alice in the franchise. I like Blumhouse's thing where Blumhouse was going to actually do a movie of F-13, but with the rights being all jumbled and everything basically all over the map, I don't know if it's the best thing to do in F-13 at this point because of all that, because it's so tricky to kind of like work around it to try to find out what they can and can't do, what works and what doesn't work. It's going to be very difficult for them to do that.
What's your take on the Nintendo games for Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th? Something that you played as a kid, would you recommend them to anybody today if they want to go back and play these? Or do you recommend the games that we played on our PlayStations for the horror?
Probably the newer console ones,
Okay.
because like I don't think I'd be able to take like the old Nintendo things with the old school sound for like the Jason game was ahead of its time actually with Nintendo, and so was the
Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street one. I'd kind of like them to see the redo the Nightmare on Elm Street game, kind of bring it out for us. Even if it's a repackaged version of what we had for Nintendo, or if they just want to like bring out a whole new Nightmare on Elm Street game experience for us, I think would be awesome.
Do you want to tackle the Jim Henson stuff? I don't know anything about this. You might.
The Jim Henson stuff.
About Dave Bautista and Beowulf?
Oh yeah.
You go ahead.
I don't even know what that is. They're doing a movie. Monster movie Grendel will star Jeff Bridges as Grendel and Dave Bautista as Beowulf. That was announced today. Not really too sure much about what's going on with that.
I'm interested.
Definitely intrigued with that one. Now we're going to get into the one that I'm super, super excited for at the end of the month. May 31st. Probably our biggest horror movie coming out so far, flying under the radar here as like an indie up-and-coming movie, is the one that's called... what the hell is the name of it there? You have it somewhere.
It's...
In a Violent Nature.
There you go.
The first-person horror movie that's going to give us the movie shown to us through the killer's perspective, which I think is really cool because it's not really since the Jason franchise that we've kind of had that, but even Jason, we don't really get to see any of the kills and any of that stuff happen through his view. It's only like a couple of them that do. But this In a Violent Way, like if you see the trailer for this movie, It actually looks really good. It's getting high scores around the board on everything basically. You've seen the trailer for it. The trailer looks amazing. And it's Canadian. It's a Canadian horror film. You don't really see too many Canadian horror films, but In a Violent Way is a Canadian horror film.
So what do you think of the Looming being done by Talk to Me and Boomhouse?
I'm not really too sure much about that one, really.
Okay, well,
I know Talk to Me was we seen that one. It was
something.
It was okay. Nothing fantastic.
Not for us, basically. A Poppy Playtime is a live-action horror film.
Yeah, Poppy's coming out as a movie. I'm not really too sure much about Poppy. It's a
game, I think.
I think it was a game or
We'll
something.
look more into that and get back to you guys on that. What about newest Craven movie getting a remake? You know more about than I do.
20 years later, Wes Craven produced killer dog movie The Breed is getting a remake. Not really much sure about what The Breed is about, but that it's coming back.
Puppy dogs.
New Lord of the Rings film is titled The Hunt for Gollum. Andy Serkis is going to return as Gollum himself, and Andy Serkis is also going to direct this film. Not much else is known about this film as to right now, but I'm definitely intrigued with it.
So am I. Well, what are you hoping for season 4 of Chucky? If we get it, what are you hoping for?
I know a lot of people are craving Chucky season 4, especially after the way that season 3 ended. Where season 3 kind of left us on a cliffhanger. The kids are encapsulated in this little thing, but we don't really get to see what happens with them. Chucky leaves off with Tiffany and with Caroline. I know Mancini has future plans for Caroline, but it all depends on the network. It all depends on Sci-Fi if they're going to renew it or not. The main talks for that now is that they were going to do it in a movie that was supposed to take place. I'm not sure if they're still going to go forward with the movie or if they're going to be pushing season 4. I know a lot of us want to see season 4. Brad Dourif delivered probably some of his best work in season 3, as did Jennifer Tilly, as did Devon Sawa. He was amazing in this series as well. He's definitely come a long way from the kid that you guys know from Casper, from Idle Hands. There's Devon Sawa right there. From Casper, from Idle Hands, from Final Destination. Now you look at his work in Chucky, and it's absolutely exceptional. He's done such a fantastic job.
Do you want to touch on Nightmare on Elm Street coming to 4K?
Nightmare on Elm Street's coming to 4K. I'm super excited for that coming to 4K for the first time.
With three alternative endings.
3 alternative endings.
Oh, so
And also, we're also not only getting Nightmare on Elm Street, but they're already in the works for do Nightmare on Elm Street 2 on 4K, and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, also coming to 4K, but they're still in development. They're still working through them. There's still going to be probably months before we hear when they're coming out.
Out to myself here. I'll speak a bit so you can drink. Christopher Lloyd is joining, returning to his family, but joining Wednesday. We don't know what he's playing. Also, Haley Joel Osment's joining the cast, which I'm really excited to love the movie he was in. I See Dead People, blah, blah, blah. I do like his work. Also, I might butcher this, but Heather Matazzaro is also joining in as well as Francis O'Connor and Jonas Sotomo. I may have butchered them, but they're all coming into Wednesday. Don't know about the cast. We don't know who they're playing. I'm wondering if...
You should know who Jonas played. Jonas played Chewbacca in the Star Wars franchise.
I did not know that. That's cool.
He was the later Chewbacca in the Han Solo film, and I believe in one of the other ones.
And you want to talk about John Watts directing possibly Nightmare on Elm Street?
Which one?
John Watts wanting to do a Nightmare film.
I'm not sure much about his work, to be honest with you.
He's really good.
I know that Heather Langenkamp has stated that she wants to come back in A Nightmare on Elm Street to do like one last kind of round with Freddy, but I don't know if Robert Englund would be able to do it. It'd be cool to have both of those
a legendary sequel, basically.
in there, like as like a legacy kind of sequel thing for the film. Would be awesome.
And 44th anniversary of the first Friday the 13th. What do you feel about that? 44 years ago.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's definitely come a long way. It's definitely still holding its own. When we're touching on anniversaries, as you see all the puppets that I have, well, you don't see them, but Puppet Master is celebrating its 35th anniversary, and probably the best way ever. If you're huge on trading cards, I think right now it's just a Kickstarter through the Full Moon Features app or through their website. I believe it's just a Kickstarter right now, but they're working on bringing out Puppet Master trading cards. It's going to feature never before seen like pictures of the puppets, autograph cards, all kinds of cool stuff. If you're into collecting cards, that's going to be wicked for Puppet Master fans to finally have their hands on trading cards of the series.
Yeah, with autographs. So, what is your take on another Strangers movie? What do you think? What are you excited for this? This is the last things I knew. Are you excited? Are you nervous about the Strangers movie? And is it something you want to see in theaters?
I think The Strangers is going to be great. I'm definitely excited to see The Strangers. This is the first of 2 that we're actually getting this year. We're getting The Strangers Part 1 right now. And I believe it's stated that in October, we're going to get Part 2. And they say, don't leave the theater once you finish Strangers, the new one that's coming. There's an end credit scene that's going to set up Part 2, which I believe there's talks of it's coming out in October, the second half of The Strangers.
I think so.
Plus, there's going to be a third part of it, but the third part is going to be early next year, 2025, is when we're going to expect Part 3 of The Strangers. It's going to be a 3-part movie series.
So the question to you is, should they see these first and then go to the other ones, or should they watch the ones that are already out before these prequel films?
I think watch the ones that's already out. The first Strangers is basically speaks for itself. It's really well done. Prey at Night, the second one, was even better. Especially if you're like me and you love old school 80s style slasher horror film kind of thing. The Strangers Prey at Night really nails that exceptionally well. It's really well done.
What else? Anything else you want to touch on horror related? Because
horror related, I'm definitely excited for Terrifier 3. Definitely Terrifier 3 to see where this goes. I know they talked about doing 4 of them, so I'm kind of interested to see where they take the third one before they do the 4th one. And that In a Violent Way. Is it In a Violent Way, is it called?
Yep.
Or In a Violent Nature.
There you go.
In a Violent Nature. They're supposed to have kills in that are kind of like on par with the Terrifier. So I'm definitely intrigued to see where they take that. We haven't had a big slasher kind of style movie like this in a long time that I can remember. I mean, F-13's been like that standard, but this one's even more hyped because it's getting rave review all over the board, getting solid reviews. It's coming out at the end of the month, May 31st. Hopefully our theater gets it. If it's in your theater, guys, definitely check it out. It's a Canadian horror film, but it's supposed to be very, very good. And has me intrigued, especially since them taking it on through the killer's perspective.
And what are we doing? What's coming after this one? We're doing a short.
After this one, there's going to be a short, guys. We're going to do a review on another horror movie that everybody's been talking about, Abigail, which is in theaters currently. It's a movie that everybody's been raving about. Everybody wants to see Abigail. Some people have really enjoyed it. Other people have said it's been okay. Hasn't been anything spectacular. I'm definitely intrigued to see kind of how it is. It looks good to me. Taro's out in theaters now. That one looks not bad.
That's something I want to see. That's one I do want to see.
It could be interesting. The scares to me in that one, based on the trailer, though, look like it's all going to be predictable, and you kind of see the spots where they all are, I think, on that one, sadly.
Anything else you want to know? Or was that all for the horror element of the channel?
That's most of the horror stuff. We can touch on some of the toys that are coming out. There's
That's still horror.
There's the Krampus figure coming out, another one. They're doing the Jack in Box figure from Krampus is coming out from NECA as well.
Oh, that's what it is.
McFarlane announced a 2-pack of Batman and Bane, which looks wicked. He's doing exceptional work with the DC products that are coming out. Also his Movie Maniacs figures, and now he has Music Maniacs. I believe that series so far is Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne, and Rob Zombie, who hasn't actually had a figure for McFarlane, I think,
In years.
since like early 90s. I think it was 99, 90 something was the first.
And you forget-
I have the first figure from Rob Zombie.
And you're forgetting the Iron Maiden mascot.
Oh yes, Eddie. Eddie the Trooper is also coming in, part of that series.
That's
so
cool.
That's a really cool take on that series from
McFarlane.
To kind of branch out and do a music one.
And Rob Zombie's a big on horror because he's done. Do you want to show your toys?
House of a Thousand Corpses, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary.
That's crazy.
Which is also a movie that Rob Zombie hated originally. He was not a fan of House of a Thousand Corpses at all. He didn't like working on it with the studio. It was kind of like... But it's kind of lived on to be like a cult classic film and spark like one of the best, I think, one of the best horror franchises has been the Firefly trilogy with The Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses, and Three from Hell. All three of those have both been exceptionally well.
Did you like the trailer for Something in the Water?
That one looked okay. The new shark movie coming, Something in the Water looked decent. And while we're on shark movies, 47 Meters Down is coming out with a third one. There's not much known about it. They said it was announced that they're doing a third 47 Meters Down. It's supposed to be very, very good, so I'm definitely intrigued. The first one I didn't really care for, but the second one was wicked. And the third one I thought was even better. I'll let you touch on some stuff there.
I'm going to touch quickly. I saw the TV go. My friend Tessa, or when I knew saw it, and they compared it to Friday the 13th. It's been compared to that. And so I've asked my friend Tessa. She's seeing it soon. She's a critic, right? I have Tessa. She says, I can't wait for your review on this movie and see what you think. Movie I'm excited for. You know, it's something horror. Not the horror guy, the superhero guy, but I saw the TV. Glow is getting Nightmare on Elm Street meets Friday the 13th vibe, supposedly. So again, I'll let you know when I hear how good it is. The movie I want to see could be on the theater or the stick, whatever we both want. Any other horror for myself? Oh, Scream. The new Scream 7's coming at some point down the road. It's bringing back, Officer Dewey's returning.
Oh, David Arquette?
Yes, he's returning again.
Courtney Cox, I think, is coming back.
Because the seventh one is, the one that was, the sixth one was based on a book that the girl there, blonde girl from 5, wrote. And that's where this movie came from. So 7 is going to go back to tie into the fourth one. So this is it's kind of weird, but that's what's going on with Scream. Again, David Arquette's returning to the series. Courtney Cox is returning. Isn't the other girl returning as well?
Neve Campbell will be back playing her title character role as Sidney Prescott again in the new Scream 7 movie. So definitely intrigued on Scream. Really intrigued on the Terrifier. In a Violent Nature has got me super excited. I don't think I've been excited for a horror movie in a long time like this one. I'm really intrigued. It's going to be disappointing if it's bad, but I have hopes on this one that it's going to be good. It looks Jason-esque. It reminds me a lot of F-13 big time through, but F-13 through the killer's perspective. You're seeing the kills done through the killer, not through not through a third person like the other characters. You see them. This movie, you're following around the killer in the movie, and you're seeing everything done in his perspective, which is kind of an interesting take. I don't think they've ever done this before. Shudder's looking to produce this one too. I think Shudder is producing this one, and it is going to release in theaters on May 31st. Probably on digital, I would think roughly around the same time, or maybe close. I'm not exactly sure. Shudder's handling all of that one. The TV Glows one is also a Shudder movie. Shudder's been doing big things in the horror industry, especially recently with the Late Night with the Devil, which has probably been their most acclaimed film on there so far.
Are you excited for this?
Quiet Place Day One, not too bad. I mean, I did like the original Quiet Place. The second one was way better than the original. I love the second one. I believe John Krasinski, is producing this one. I'm not too sure. I don't think Krasinski's not starring in it, which is unfortunate because John Krasinski is such a great actor. We're speaking on John Krasinski, he's got a wicked movie coming up too, guys. Not horror related, kind of horror related, but not really. It's a really good family movie. It looks awesome. It's called Ifs. So if you've seen the trailer, guys, you know what I'm talking about. John Krasinski's movie Ifs, which I believe you have to find out when Ifs is coming.
Probably very soon.
It stars Ryan Reynolds is starring in it, which is awesome. Ryan Reynolds is such a good actor. John Krasinski is a fantastic director, so it's going to be amazing.
The 16th.
The 16th of May, guys, Ifs is coming out. Definitely check it out. It looks really cool. I'm excited for it. It's a good family movie. I know a lot of my stuff on here is all horror related, but it's good to throw in some good family movies once in a while too. And I think Ifs will be that feel-good movie for us for the summer. Haven't yet to see Fall Guy. I want to see Fall Guy. It looks decent. So I can't really do a review on Fall Guy yet. But that was basically our take on everything horror related and toy related and figure related. We will have the movie review for you guys later on. We're going to watch the movie soon. So thank you to everybody who subscribed so far. We have 53 subscribers. If you like the content, if you like what you see here, if you have any suggestions on what to do to make the channel better, or anything that you'd like to see, please let us know, and we can make that happen. We're going to do more taste tests. Obviously, probably do more taste tests tomorrow. So if you guys are big on the taste test stuff, there'll be more of those coming tomorrow. It's all about finding the product, and sometimes it's hard to find new products to try, but we definitely do our best to try to find the new product, to try them and show you guys on the channel. There's more autograph content coming. There's more unboxing content coming. I believe there's a wrestling crate that they got coming in to do one. There's a Zobi one coming in. So there's lots of cool unboxing content. Video game content we'll have for you guys coming up soon. If you guys want the next DLC for WWE 2K24, drops, I believe it's next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. If you guys want to see videos of CM Punk, the Dudley Boys, Terry Funk, Sandman, all those awesome ECW guys, stay tuned. I'll do some cool videos for you for WWE 2K24. Next big game I got purchased was a Star Wars game. It's coming out, I believe, at the end of August. So if you're big Star Wars fans, stay tuned, because I'll be dropping some cool Star Wars content for you guys if you want that. That's it. There's other movies that you want to touch on? Touch on the Crow remake briefly. What are your thoughts on the Crow remake? I'll get you to chime in first because I get the water here.
Me first on the Crow remake. I'll make it short and sweet for myself. Oops, I'm actually seeing better. There we go. Crow remake. I'm excited for it. I like Bill Skarsgård. I know the original is blah, 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 blah. It's all, Brendan Lee's legacy. But I want to see it. Comic books are always remade. Look at Batman. How many times that's been remade? Look at Superman, Spider-Man. Look at any superhero genre. They've always been remade. So I'm excited. I will be probably going to theaters. I do love the original.
It's there somewhere.
Original, he got on 4K, which will show it. If you haven't seen this, it's worth it. I would say give the remake a try. If you're big on Brendan Lee, then the original is your favorite version. I'm excited, and I'll let my friend say what he thinks. That's me.
I think The Crow could potentially be good. I do really like Bill Skarsgård. I know Bill Skarsgård will never be Brendan Lee. And that's something that if we're going to go into this movie, guys, that's something that we got to throw. I know it's hard to put it onto the back burner, but this will always be The Crow for everybody. I know that. It's definitely The Crow for me. But I'd say, give this one a chance. Skarsgård is really good at what he does. Just look at his work in the It series with It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. He's also going to be playing Nosferatu in the new movie. Nosferatu's Count Orlok is actually going to be portrayed by Bill Skarsgård, and he seems to work really well in his horror roles. I think he's going to do a decent job in The Crow. Obviously, he's never going to touch Brandon Lee. Nobody will ever touch Brandon Lee. And that's kind of the way that we have to go into this movie is there's never going to be another Brandon Lee. 100%. There's never going to be another Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee was one of a kind. But now we got that out of the way. We got to go into this film, the new one, with a more open mind and kind of see it as its own entity. Forget everything about the first one, the original one, Brandon Lee. That one's a staple. That one's forever going to be the Crow movie. But we're going to go into this one here, guys, with an open mind and put it off as its own entity and see kind of how it's gonna go through that way. I'm willing to give it a try. If it sucks, it sucks. We're gonna have an honest review. If it's terrible, we're gonna come on here. We're gonna have an honest review and tell you guys that that movie is absolute garbage. But I'm not willing to say that it's absolute garbage yet because we have to see it first before we're gonna criticize it. I'm willing to give Skarsgård a chance, and I hope that you guys do too. And hopefully you guys subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have the movie review for you guys tonight, so stay tuned for that one. And we'll see you on the next one. Feel free to subscribe, guys. We're at 53 subscribers. Climbing up to 60. Hopefully we'll get to 60 at some point. It'll be really cool to see. So we'll see you guys in the next one.